Alright, y'all, welcome back for another review of Ready to Love Last Resort. This is going to be episode 6, titled Friend with Benefits. This was a pretty shocking episode, but also kind of slow. Just a lot of stuff went down, and a lot of stuff that was just surprising, like jaw dropping. We'll get to it in a minute. Make sure you like, subscribe, and so that I know that you're enjoying this because I don't even know if people even like this. But let's get to it. It starts out with Simone and Jay. Simone and Jay are talking, and Jay was asking like why would you even do that when she told like Joy about him going in the winter's room, and Simone was like, I was just being insecure. It's something that I have to deal with, something that I feel as like a black woman and all this, and she needs to learn to forgive herself for mistakes. And Jay told her like, I forgive you, because it wasn't that big a deal to him because nothing happened, so it wasn't nothing to hide or lie about. So he said, I can't really be worried about that. I gotta just keep it moving. I can't get caught up on something she did that was childish, which makes sense. Uh, we go over to Nyya and Chris. For this episode, the guys are meeting the ladies' cousins, and the cousins are friends or whoever are asking questions. And so it's Chris and Nyya, and her cousin Kiki shows up. And Chris said, he's nervous about it because he's just all into Nyya. He says Nyya is all in his head. Like he's always thinking about her. He's always wondering about her. Like she's in his mind. She's like a headworm. And so Kiki asked him about what he feel about, family. He's like, family is everything. What he feel about church. He's like, hey, I'm a deacon. He's an ordained deacon. And Nyya starts tripping like, oh, well, we could have been together. I ain't know all that. You like this whole thing. And she was like, we should get married. We could be having babies and stuff already. Just like, y'all not even dating. It was, but Chris Chris really likes her. So, and I don't know why Nyya is in such a hurry to get married. And then Naya's friends ask him about, this is where it gets controversial. This is where it gets weird. She asks Chris about what does he think about finances in the house. And Chris says, we're gonna he said, I believe in me being the head of the household, but we're gonna have to split the mortgage, I take this bill, you take that bill, you do this. He was like basically splitting stuff, the house's bills and stuff 50-50. Naya didn't like that. Naya was like, if you the head of the household and you both be the man of the house, you both just pay all this stuff. And Chris said, well, he said, I'm a DJ. He said, I work in radio. Ain't no money in radio. You make way more money than I do. I can't cover your bill. Like I can't cover. Like he can live within his means. Like if she wants to live within his means, he can cover it. But him trying to cover her means, he can't be. It can't. He can't do that. Now the problem is he didn't say it good. He said it every time Chris opened his mouth, it sounded awful. He wasn't making no fucking sense. He wasn't saying anything cohesive. He was basically saying, I'm gonna be a bum living off of you. That's basically how it sounded like. You had to really pay attention to what he was saying to realize that he was just saying, I can't really afford what you can afford. But he was talking about, I'm just gonna sit back and let you do what you do and I'm gonna fill in the gaps. Filling in the gaps is not a good thing to say. Filling in the gaps is a terrible thing to say. Because usually, traditionally, the woman fills in the gaps. The man does everything he can, and wherever he's lacking it, the woman does. He was saying the opposite way. He was saying the opposite way because he knew that she makes more. So he would be completely broke. And then the gaps would still be huge. So he came across like a bum, which I don't think he meant to do. And he knew he sounded bad. Because he walked away from that conversation, which he should have done. He should have explained himself better, but he just couldn't because he didn't know how to say it. It seemed like the whole talk blindsided him. He wasn't expecting it because we're not even like exclusively dating. We're not together at all. Why are we even talking about money? We should at least learn if we want to be with this person. So it was a bad look down and all around for Chris. Chris KG Smooth wasn't smooth at all with this. He was jagged and fucked up. Uh, Next, we go to Brian and Alex and her friend, Alex's friend, Tanisha. And she's asking Brian about, what's he like, his family, does he have any kids? He said, yeah, he has a daughter, he has a 3-year-old daughter, and she means everything to him. Uh, how she's his world and he loves her, he trusts, like, he just wants to be a better man for her, how she made him change how he viewed women and what he thought of women and all that because now he had a girl, all that good shit. But, she keeps asking him stuff, but he's like, he's cheated before, he's a cheater. And Alex is basically sitting there like she doesn't really trust Brian. And her friend doesn't really trust Brian because Brian seems like he's full of shit. Like he's just saying what he thinks you want to hear, but it's not really what he believes or what he's going to actually do. And now you can feel that coming through because Alex feels it, and her friend Tanisha, she feels it too. They don't. They like, yeah, he's saying the right stuff, he's doing the right things, but I don't know if it's genuine. And you have Edwin and Winter. It goes to Edwin and Winter, and they're just talking. They're like their friends aren't here yet. They're just talking, and they're talking about vacations and shit like that. It just like Edwin's always talking. He's about something to somebody. He's a very talkative dude, and basically they just flirting. It ain't really nothing to it. They just flirting with each other. You see Chris. He meets up later with Joy, Simone, and Alex, and he's telling them he thinks he fucked up the conversation with Chris and her friend because he did. He is aware that he didn't say stuff right, so he's asking them like, "What should I have said? How should I have put it? What was going on?" But he tells them like, "Hey, this is about finances," and he was like, "I believe split." He said, "I said split the mortgage stuff." He said, "That's not right. I shouldn't have said that." So he knows he shouldn't have said it. He said, "If you the man, you pay the mortgage, you pay the bills." But he was like, but then he kept fucking up because he kept saying, "But like I can't pay all shit." He's like, "I can't pay everything." Because he's thinking, me and her need to work in order for us to have a high quality life. And he's just hung up on the fact that she makes more than him. He was like, she makes so much more money than me that saying that I have to pay everything, I guess to him kind of sounds crazy, and it really does, because she makes a lot more than him. Because I don't know how much she makes, I don't know how much he makes, but from the way he talks, she makes a lot more money than him. And he is like, "I'm in radio, there's no money in this, it's just love," And he does like activism and he does like public speaking stuff, not stuff that really pays a lot. Like he's doing his dream, he's doing what he loves doing, and it's his passion. It's not very lucrative, but it's his passion. And I respect that. I completely get that. Do what you do. What makes you happy. You don't want to work your damn ass off to something that you hate and can't stand. I get that. I really do get that. But I don't think Nyya the one, because Nyya is all about you need to have much money. You need to have more money than I have. And Chris just ain't got it. So I think Chris just let it go. Trying to just be with Nyya because it ain't gonna happen. And so they're walking him through like how to talk to her because he wants to go back to Nyya and straighten it out. I don't believe he can. And I don't believe he's not. He's not going to straighten it out. So we go from that to Joy and Jay, and you got Winter and Edwin, and they're going on a double date where they meet their friends. I think Joy's friend is Lydia, and Winter's friend is Felicia. And whose friend was it? I think it was Joy's friend. Ask Jay what does he like about Joy that Winter doesn't have, and what does he like about Winter that Joy doesn't have. And Jay he worked through that like a boss. He handled it. He said, they're different women. They have different strengths and different weaknesses, but they're both all great and stuff. He likes this about Joy. He loves this about Winter. But he says, him and Joy met first. So he really connected to her, and then he got to meet Winter, and he saw that a lot of things Winter had, Joy didn't, and he liked those too. So he really just likes them both. Cool. And Joy friend again asks, And Edwin said the same thing. Edwin was like, okay, pretty much saying to him that they have different strengths that are both beautiful, and they have different, like, they're, because they really are different people, but they're both great people. So I can understand what they're saying. And Joy's friend asks, okay, you got to have a number one. So who is the number one? And Jay tries to get out of that question. He shouldn't answer it. He tried to get out of it, but Joy's friend wouldn't let him get out of it. She kept like, no. She's like, yeah, but you're not answering what I'm saying. And he had to pick it. I think he said, Joy, but he said it's Joy just because I met Joy first. I connected to Joy first, which was trying to save it, but it wasn't really save it because Winter was still hurt. And you can tell she hurt because she's like, no one likes to be told that they're second place for any reason, which is true. And then Edwin was like, he wormed his way out of it where he didn't really have to give an answer. He just complimented Winter. But I think they saw how Winter was hurt by it from Jay, so they didn't really press on him to make a pick either. And then, so Edwin and Jay left so that they could all talk to each other about what they thought or what they felt or something like that. Some bullshit. And then you go and you see Nyya and Edwin. Nyya again. So Nyya comes to Edwin because they're sitting around, I think around the pool area. And Nyya was like, she had the thing with Chris, and she's like, it didn't go good at all. So that gives Edwin a heads up, like, oh shit, something happened. And so Edwin was like, oh, okay. So Nyya said, I'm going to ask you what I asked him about finances. So Edwin is like, okay, so Chris fucked this up, so I need to get it right. And then Nyya pretty much spoon feeds him what she wants him to say. Like, this is the answer I want you to give, because this is what Chris didn't say. But I'm going to ask you. So Edwin already knew this is what the fuck I better say, or I'm going to be fucked too. So Edwin says the opposite. He says the exact same thing Chris said. I noticed this. He says exactly what Chris said, but he says it way better and way smoother. And he makes it sound more coherent and understandable. Whereas Chris was all over the place, Edwin pretty much, because of what Nyya was telling him, he pretty much knew he had a path on what to say. And he said, I'm the man, I'm the head of the household, I'm responsible for all the bills, I'm responsible for everything, I take care of everything. But, of course, we need multiple streams of income to make sure everything's taken care of and that we're not lacking in anywhere. So we're going to both play our part as a partnership. He said it way better than Chris said. Because Chris was like, you pay this bill, I pay that bill, then you can't pay the bill, then I'm paying. Chris was just too fucking... He should have made it more player instead of more practical. It's basically what Chris should have done. So, Chris wanted to have a discussion, and Edwin was just like generalizing. And the generalizing sounded better. And then Nyya, tripping. She starts giving Edwin a massage. She starts rubbing his head, his shoulders, and Edwin's like, ooh, girl, don't do that. I'm going to fall asleep. You do all that. She's rubbing on his shoulders. She's squeezing his head and all that. And then she gives him this kiss. Like, when she kissed Chris, it was the more like granny pecks. She was all up in Edwin's mouth. Like, it was just gross. It was one of them kisses that you be like, ugh, y'all need to go somewhere with that. That's how the kiss was with her and Edwin. She was just all up in him, just sucking his face, and pretty much just threw Chris in the trash. And I felt so bad for Chris because Chris had talked to no one else because he was feeling Nyya and only Nyya, and he was really into Nyya and just her. He was like, she was in his mind and in his heart. And she was just like, bye, whatever. You answered one question wrong. And Nyya was like, I'm done. And so Chris comes back later in the house while they're eating, or while they're in the resort. And he tried to explain to Nyya, what I said earlier wasn't right. I got it wrong. And Nyya didn't want to hear that, because Nyya was like, whatever you said the first time, what you meant. And it was what he meant, but it didn't come out right. He didn't say it right. He wanted to say it the way Edwin said it, But it was too late now. Everyone had already said it. So Nyya was just, she just wasn't listening. She didn't care. She didn't really give a shit what Chris had to say. She was just like, okay, whatever, sure, I don't care. And Chris knew, he could feel it. Everybody could feel something was wrong with those two because this whole time they've been clicking, they've been vibing, and you could feel the energy change. That ain't what was happening. So I just felt bad for Chris because I think he's gonna get looked at wrong or categorized wrong, and it's just like, because he's coming across like somebody that's lazy and doesn't work, and I don't believe that's true. I think he just doesn't make a lot of money. Just not making a lot of money doesn't make you a bad person. If you're doing what you love, your passion, and it doesn't pay that much, people might say, well, do something else, but why do something that you hate and that you're miserable about doing, but you make a lot of money, so you just keep doing it? Especially if he's single and he can afford his life. He can afford to take care of his life. He can afford his house, his car, his stuff. He can afford that. But then it's like, when I get your bills too, I can't afford that. I understand that, and I get that. It doesn't make him not a man. It doesn't make him anything. It's just like when you converge two households, everything doubles, and he can't handle the double. So he's going to need help. And the woman is like, I don't want to help. It's like, well, shit, what do we do? And I get that. I get his mindset, and I get Nya's mindset too. Nyya was like, cause she's traditional. She was like, no, you the man. You pay for everything. You pay the bills. You know, you pay the mortgage. You pay the insurance. You pay everything. I take care of the kids. I keep the house clean. That's what it is. And Nya's like, also like, I'm gonna keep working, and I'm gonna keep making money, and I'm gonna spend my money on me. That's what she wants to do. She wants a man that'll help her do that, support her doing that. So she's not wrong. That's what she wants. And he's not wrong for being like, I can't do that. Moving on. We go to Adriana and Rashid. And Adriana's friend is Morgan. And they're talking, and she's telling him about, she's describing Rashid to her friend, because Rashid's not there yet. And then, you know, she said, oh, he's tall, light skinned, you know, he's not really muscular, but he is toned and stuff like that. And then Rashid walks up, and they're talking about Rashid's like, you know, he's been married before. She's like, what happened in that first marriage that made it go bad? And he was like, communication. He was like, there wasn't a lot of communication. Which happens. And he said, you know, he learned a lot from it, and he knows what not to do. And he thinks that he has time to think about it and think about what he could have done better and how to improve on it next time. So he realized now that he should have done more, because he says it wasn't all her, it was me too. And there were things that I didn't do. Like, I kept stuff to myself. I kept stuff inside that I didn't say, I didn't express, I didn't tell her, and she needed to know. And we just didn't talk. We didn't put everything out there and communicate very well. And I know now not to do that. And they talked about, you know, kids, like, you know, Adriana wants 3 boys, and Rashid wants a daughter. And she was like, you know, and Rashid already has a son, so she was like, hey, that's cool. And then he's 7. And basically Rashid just knocked it out the park. Rashid, like, everything the friend came to Rashid with, he was smooth, he got it. I think Rashid is a better person than I originally thought, because I'm noticing that he's a very nice person. He's very kind. He's very intelligent too, and he's thoughtful, and he's educated. It's like he's goofy when the situation calls for. When it calls for being serious and upfront, he does that well too. You know, yeah, he's goofy. He's kind of corny, but he's very mature. He's very knowledgeable, and he can listen, and he's willing, he's open-minded. So if you can get past the goofiness in social settings, like, he's a cornball socially, but personally, one-to-one, Like Adriana knew him very well personally, like what his thoughts were, what his feelings were, all that stuff, because he was communicating with her very well, which is what he said he wanted to do better in his relationship. So I think Rashid killed it. He did everything absolutely right. He answered everything very well, and her friend was like really impressed with Rashid and everything he said and did. So Rashid left so they could talk, and then Adriana said, "Well, there's another guy that I'm really feeling too." And she said, Calfani. And so she's talking about Calfani, and she says that Calfani is tall, big, muscular, chocolate. He looks so good. He's all this. And her friend says, "Yeah, well, everything you described about Calfani is all appearance. Like you're just smitten with how he looks. You love how he looks and everything about that." But she said when you talked about Rashid, you described his personality, how he thought, and everything. Like, you don't know anything about Calfani the same way you know anything about Rashid. Like basically, it's what I said before. I think Adriana likes Rashid, but she's attracted to Calfani. She likes Rashid the person, and she likes Calfani the everything else. So I don't know what she's gonna do. She's gonna have to pick one of them at some point. And if she's smart, I would think she would probably. I think, shit, I don't know. I really don't know, because she said Rashid runs along the lines of guys she's always dated, and Calfani is different from all the guys she's always dated. So maybe she doesn't want to go the same or do something different or whatever, but she doesn't really have that mental and spiritual connection to Calfani that she does with Rashid. But I think she's not as physically into Rashid as she is into Calfani. So I don't know what choice she should make. I don't really fucking know. I just, whatever the fuck she wants to do, shit. We go to Denise and her friend. Denise's friend is Terry, and she has Calfani and Anthony. And Anthony says that he thought it was just gonna be him, but then he saw Calfani was walking too. He was like, "Oh, we both going for Denise?" So it was like shit. So that, I guess that threw Anthony off some, because he really thought it was gonna be him. But they were talking, and I think Terry asked Anthony, "Has he ever cheated before?" And Anthony said, "Yeah." He was very open. He was like, "Yeah." He said, "I was a different person then. I was playing football. I wasn't thinking about relationships. I wasn't thinking about anything like that. I was just thinking about football. And so I just did what I did. I was just getting it to everybody, slanging that thing all around town." He said, "But now I'm older, I'm more mature. I put that behind me. Now I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking for a partner. So I'm not doing that type of thing anymore." Great answer. 2 thumbs up. They didn't ask Calfani, they just didn't show it. I don't know if she asked Calfani that either. They asked Anthony like what he thought about marriage, as far as his role in the marriage, and he said, "I'm gonna be the head of the household. I'm gonna take care of the bills and take care of you, but I'm not gonna control you. We're gonna be partners. We're here to support and uplift each other and build and do all the things together, and create a family unit together." Great answer. They asked Calfani, he said the same shit. I'm head of the household. We're gonna work together. We're gonna build something that we can pass down, and we can work together. Togetherness. It's all they're talking about. As partners. Great. And she asked Calfani, like, "Why is it so great for you? Why do you want to work to do this? And why are you into it?" He said, "Because Denise, it means a lot to Denise, like family and working together and being in a partnership. It means a lot to her. Why does it mean so much to you?" And Calfani said, "Together we can break generational curses." He said, "Because I came from the dirt. I had nothing, and now I've come so far, and I want to pass that on to my kids and to my seeds so that they don't have to start in the dirt like I did. I want to break just generations of us starting from nothing, trying to get something." Which Denise loves to hear, because they've had this conversation before. Denise said, in her confession, she said, "I think I'm in love with Calfani. I just love him." And the friend caught up on that Denise is really into Calfani a lot, and her friend picked up on that. So now we go back to Tommy's Tavern. Uh, and Simone says that, her friend couldn't come. She had an emergency with her baby, so she couldn't make it. So Simone, I don't know who Simone was going to even talk to. I really don't. I don't know who she was going to talk. I think Edwin. I think her friend was going to talk to Edwin or Jay. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't fucking know. Who? Simone doesn't with anybody. She's not that. On the preview for next episode, she was somebody. But this week, she wasn't with nobody. On next episode, she was all up in somebody. And they asked Winter about her thing. Winter's friend did not like Edwin or Jay. She didn't like either one of those. She didn't like either one of them. She said her friend didn't like Edwin because of Edwin's family. Because Edwin has a family of us women, his mom, his sisters, and they're really involved in his life, his relationships. She said she doesn't like that because that can be a problem. And it can be. And she said her friend doesn't like Jay because she feels like Jay is just a showman. Like he's just putting up a front. Like he's just showing you what he wants. He thinks you want to see, but you don't really see how he actually is. The thing is that Joy friend said the exact same thing about Jay. Said that Jay is putting up a front. Jay is just showing you what he wants you to see, but that's not really who he is. And Joy, but that kind of, she didn't see that, but both of their friends said the same thing about Jay. Jay is just putting on a show. He's not being real. They asked Denise what her friend said. Her friend told her, Cal Fani is the one for her. Like, Anthony's not it. You should be with Cal Fani because y'all have a lot of, spiritually, mentally, and just like y'all future goals line up. So Cal Fani is the one that she should go with, which is what Denise wanted to hear anyway. And Adriana got kind of sideways about that because she was like, because Adriana likes Cal Fani too. So they asked Adriana, and Adriana said, her friend really liked Rashid. Like, her friend likes Rashid just as much as she does. Because, they connect a lot on so many things, and they have so many of the same goals, so many of the same wants and desires. So Adriana was like, yeah, Rashid, like her friend confirmed that, like, yeah, Rashid is a guy that you should be talking to. They asked Nyya how to go with Chris, and Nyya was out of pocket. Nyya was like, because Tommy said, you was all over Chris. She said, I wasn't all in there. Like, it was just, she was like, Chris who? Like, that's how bad it was. She was like, she did not like Chris, which is bullshit. Cause we've seen the episode where you and Chris were always together. Y'all were always in each other. But now she was like, oh no, I was never into him. I was just entertaining his interests. Bullshit. Y'all had a shared interest. You had one too. It was just so bad that, and it flipped the whole room because all the ladies was like, wait a minute, you and Chris was all over each other. Y'all were, and Nyya was like, Chris who? I don't know no Chris. Who the fuck is that? It was like, no, not that bum, not that piece of shit. No, I ain't never liked him. And it was like, and it just floored everybody's shit because everybody was like, and Alex said, that's not fair to Chris. Because if you don't like him and you never liked him, you should have been upfront about this, so he could have talked to somebody else. That's true. Because Chris hasn't talked to anybody else. He's only been into Nyya, and I guess he felt Nyya was also into him. But Nyya was like, I never was into him. And Simone and Alex and Joy are like trying to defend Chris, like, wait, how? And Nya's going off on them. Like, y'all need to mind y'all fucking business. Because how he treats you ain't how he treats me. She's just going off. Because everybody sees, like, this is some bullshit right here. You're like, she was sitting there literally like, I don't know this man. Chris who? Who the fuck is that? When he get here? Oh, I don't like him. I never talked to him. We was never together. I never said anything like, it was just it was just fucked up wrong. And then the thing was that she never even explained what happened. So I don't know what Tommy was thinking. I don't know, because maybe it was editing, but some Tommy had to go like, what the fuck happened? Because she never said, oh, we had a talk. And he said, she was like, I don't know who y'all talking about. It's fucking crazy. Shit. And she was like, let's move on. So they moved, Tommy was like, hey, let's move on. I know it was shit now. And Alex said that her friend didn't like Brian. Her friend was like, you're real guarded and you're on edge around him because you don't trust him. And Alex was like, I don't trust Brian because he seems to be kind of full of shit. And the way he did Alicia, he could absolutely do that to me too. He could. And then Joy was like, she done with Brian. She was like, Joy was like, why is Brian still here? Nobody likes him. Shit. She was like, I am done. I think everybody else is done with him. He has no more purpose being here. After what he did to Alicia and how he acts, there's no point in him. Nobody's in there. So your bottom two are Chris and Brian. And Joy goes to talk to Chris, and Denise talks to Brian. I don't know why Denise talks to Brian. I guess because they feel like Denise gonna just lay it out there, tell him straight. And Joy talks to Chris because she said, I didn't want Nyya to talk to you. Because Joy and Chris are friends. They knew each other before all this. They knew each other like way back for years. And Joy says, she's like, I know Chris. I know he's a good person. I know what he stands for. I know what he's about. And I know how he lives. And she's like, I know that what she's saying is not the truth. What she's saying isn't you. So she was like, I didn't want Nyya to come because it would have been ugly because Nyya is fucking tripping. And Nyya was. And so Denise is telling Brian, like, hey man, you gotta stop playing. We feel like you ain't for real and all this, and like you just out here just doing whatever and just wilding out of pocket, but we're gonna let you stay. So Brian stays, and Joy tells Chris, like, hey, we don't think you're ready for love. And she feels bad because she was like, Chris went all in on Nyya. And as soon as Nyya said, I don't know this dude, it was over with. Because he had no connection with anyone else. Nothing. So Chris gone. KG smooth and got smooth up out of there. And I understand. Like, I can understand why Nyya wasn't feeling him no more. But to just talk about him like that, just like to go from being all into him, just being completely, like, I hate, like, this dude here, over one conversation, not even a conversation, a question that somebody else asked, that he clearly was struggling with, because he wasn't expecting it, and he didn't know how to answer it, because everybody got weird questions, and that they struggle to get through, because some stuff some stuff isn't a question, it's a talk. Like finances, me personally, that's a talk. We need to sit down and discuss this out once we get to a point in our relationship where we do that. Especially if y'all are two grown adults who each have a house and have separate bills and responsibilities and all that. You don't just say to hell with it and go ahead. You have to discuss and talk this out and figure out how it's going to work. I know Nyya might want that, but she's 42. And she has her own business. She has her own house, her own cars, her own bills. And Chris is 40 and he has his own house, his own bills, his own car, his own everything. That's not something that just snap your fingers and it happens. You have to talk this out. You got to lay out a plan of how to integrate those two households and how you will go forward with them. The only way you don't do that is if somebody is so fucking rich, it doesn't matter. Like, forget all that. I got more than enough money. This is what we're doing. If it's not that situation, you got to talk about it. It's gotta be a talk. It's gotta be a discussion. So I think for her mad that Chris ain't no multi-millionaire that can just easily swoop her into his life was just crazy to me. And Chris was like, what is he supposed to do? Lie? So it's what it like she has the right to feel that way, but I think Chris also has the right to be like, I can't do this on my own. I can't do this. Like, he's being honest. He's being real. He's not less of a man. He's not some broke bum. He's not some sorry ass. He works. He's active. He's busy. But he's also is aware that there are certain things I can't do. That is not a shortcoming. That doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't make you anything except truthful and aware. Them my thoughts. You may say I'm biased because I'm a dude or I'm a man who ain't rich, because I fucking ain't. But I can't. It's certain things that I know financially I can't do. And if I make you aware that, hey, financially I can't do that, I'm going to need your help. Or honestly, at best, I can just help you. Or you not a man for that shit. Whatever. I guess I'm not a fucking man then. Because I'm not finna die. I'm not finna kill myself working 4 fucking jobs to pay one bill. Hating my life and fucking suicidal. I can't do that. So, those are my thoughts. Cuss me the fuck out in the comment section. I'm listening and I'll answer you. I will answer you. If you can tell me what I did wrong. If you tell me, hey man, you fucked up, but you not reading it right, or you not getting it, because I'm like, Chris was right and Nyya was right. And there's no way it would have worked down the line either. But she did not have to talk about him like that. That's my official stance. They're both right, but her down talking him was unnecessary because he didn't down talk her. He boosted her up the whole goddamn show. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Until next time. Now, I'm curious what the next episode is going to be, because it looks even more complicated and fucked up. So, yeah. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.